Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube tech guy. Hey guys, so today we're here to talk about possibly one of the best smartphones of the year, and it's from Asus. Really? Alright, so yeah, this phone is the Asus ROG Phone, or the Asus Republic of Gamers phone. Now this is labeled as a gaming phone, but this really blows away a lot of the competition out in the market. It basically took a lot of things that different companies were doing and made it into one phone, and it looks very promising. Now, depending on the camera and the price point, which we're going to get to towards the end and more in depth, is going to make or break this phone in the top 10 smartphones of the year, top 5, or top. So let's get into it. So first of all, I want to point out 3 things on the design of this phone itself. So 1, front-facing stereo speakers, which is always good and still very rare to see. 2, the back has 2 really nice things, and that is a fingerprint scanner, so you do have a fingerprint scanner on the back, as well as that eye is RGB, meaning it can change red, blue, green, pink. You can change whatever color you want. And 3, no notch. I think we're good so far. Alright, now let's go on the specs, because specs are going to obviously make you want to get this phone. It really has a lot of the best specs out there on the market. Whether you compare it to an S9 or a OnePlus, it really stands out. So let's go over that. So first and foremost, you have a 1080p display. I know, 1080p, but it is Super AMOLED, so you have an AMOLED display, and it's 90 Hz refresh rate, which means it's faster and smoother than any other screen on the market for an AMOLED. Now, Razer did this last year with having a much faster Hz display as well, but it was LCD. Asus has figured out how to do this with AMOLED, and that's a big step up, and it basically means that I would rather have this screen over any other screen pretty much in the market for this phone. So that's really awesome. Secondly, it also has cameras, which are a 12 megapixel and an 8 megapixel front camera. So the 12 megapixel is what I'm worried about, but it does have an f1.8 aperture, which is better than a lot of first-time smartphones, and it means that it should be good in low light. But here's where the really big 3 come in. 1, 8 gigs of RAM. That is better than almost every other flagship on the market. 2, 4,000 milliamp battery. That is also better than almost every other smartphone on the market. And 3, this has a 128 gig of storage or 512 gig of storage internal storage. So that's really impressive. I think if you have that kind of storage, you don't need an SD card in my opinion, because this doesn't have one, but it's really important. Also, instead of just splash resistance, it actually has water resistance. So that's really good because you can actually submerge it in water and you're fine. That's really impressive, especially because this phone has a gaming trait called vapor cooling, which basically is going to allow it to cool down the smartphone a lot better than every other smartphone does. This is really rare in smartphones, so the fact that it has such a big version of this is pretty impressive. Now, what else do you have? You have things like HDR in the AMOLED display. You have also the fastest processor out for Android. This is a Snapdragon 845, but it's different from every other version because they have increased it, basically kind of overclocking it to be 2.9 gigahertz speed. So it is faster than all of the other ones out there. Only a little bit faster, mind you, but still faster. So it's automatically faster processor than every other Android out right now in the market. This also does have things like Bluetooth 5.0, aptX, fast charging. You have all of this kind of stuff built in. So you have all of that. Plus, of course, you have a Type-C connector and you have a headphone jack. So I think we're good on a lot of places there. Now, what about the accessories? Accessories is really a big thing for smartphones that are not named Samsung and Apple. Why do I say that? Because if you're not named those two, it's really hard to find accessories. It's very hard to find a case for OnePlus that isn't OnePlus. Not only that, but even a company like LG, a very high selling company, when I reached out to case manufacturers, they said they weren't making the case for them for the newest phone. That is pretty, a big deal for a lot of people. They want to have accessories for the smartphone. Luckily, I think Asus kind of noticed this trend and really made some really cool ones. Starting with this one. So this one is a gamer trope, but it really is awesome because anyone I feel could use it and love it. 1, this is a fan that keeps your phone cooler, which is cool in itself. But 2, and more importantly in my opinion, this also has a Type-C connection and a headphone jack connected to it, which means if you hold your phone like this, you actually have connected at the bottom right here to actually make sense and not have to block anything on the sides. That is a really cool design factor and something that, again, I feel like other people should be doing, but Asus did it really well. The fact is having this simple add-on attachment to do it. Now I will say this, Asus, if you can put a kickstand on this, it would be perfect. So hopefully we'll see that. Now the next big thing though for it is this gamepad. I know you're thinking of like, okay, other companies have made gamepad adapters to it before. What's the big deal? This is the big deal. That is the back of this gamepad, and this is the front. It is a dual screen add-on, which basically gives you 2 screens. You can run 2 apps simultaneously, which is always fun on any kind of device. But the even more important thing is that you can actually run apps that make sense together as a gamer or as anybody else, whether it be Maps and YouTube or whether it be whatever you want. You could actually even do gaming and Twitch, so you can stream while on here. So I could basically be recording a YouTube video and be playing a game of that YouTube video. I love this ability to do more, and it makes sense. Or the bottom could always be a D-pad controller system, whatever you want. It's just nice to have those extras, and again, I really like the fact that we're getting these really cool accessories for this device. And the other accessories are going to be just a regular gamepad that you put on left and right, which is always good just for tactile feel in gaming. And finally, you have a docking system, much similar to Dex, but with a lot more connections. This has like 3 USB connections or 4, I forgot how many, and HDMI. I mean, it has everything you would want to make this kind of like a full-fledged computer. Connect the keyboard and mouse to it, whatever you want, and you have that kind of experience. Now, first and foremost, hopefully we will get this phone. I'm gonna try my best to reach out to Asus. Asus, if you're watching this, we definitely wanna review this phone, especially since we're one of the only channels that actually do gaming reviews for smartphones. But the more important thing is here is how will this phone succeed? I think it's really going to come down to the price point and the camera. The camera, I feel, has to be at least good. It cannot be bad as the Razer phone camera was when it first came out. It did get some improvements, but if you come with a poor camera, Razer and Essential are classic examples of how it didn't go well because of the camera alone. Now, how about what else? What else could it have? It has to have the price point to really make it sell well. If you come at a price point of $700 to $750 for the 128 gig, I think this phone has a really good chance of selling well. For the similar spec OnePlus, for instance, you have a $579 price point, so $580. I think for $120 more, you can easily justify the fact that you are getting a way bigger battery and you're also getting waterproofing, so it's a lot better overall compared to that phone, and I would gladly switch up from it for the extras like the refresh rate, like the accessories. I would gladly switch for that purpose, but I think it is going to determine on price point. I think if it gets to the $800 and $850 price point, it could sell. It won't sell as well, but if it does get to that $1,000 price point, again, this is a high-end brand in the gaming realm, I really think it will just be a footnote more than an actual high-selling phone. It's going to be really curious to see where Asus puts this price point. I just offer them this one bit of advice. Overall, when smartphone companies, I get it, you want to make your money back for research and development, so you typically charge a higher price with the first phone and then slowly go down thereafter. The problem with that is no one really buys the first phone. So if you take a chance and go with a more reasonable price point for consumers, I think you're going to have a lot of people buy the phone and then be excited to buy the new one. That is what I believe the Pixel did overall, coming from Nexus and then going to Pixel, and people were on board with it just to have that similar experience that they had before. Alright guys, let me know what you think for this smartphone. Do you think I'm right that this will come down to camera and also price point? What price point do you think it should be? Let me know in the comment section down below. And again, let me know if you're excited for this phone like I am, or if you think, you'll wait to see what happens. Alright guys, thank you as always again for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe up there. Make sure you follow us on social media right here. And of course, check out our latest video up there. And right down here, you're going to find the perfect video for you. Or at least that's what YouTube tells me. Thanks again.